Hey friends, Destiny here. Welcome to episode 4 of my video series, A Tiny Review. Basically what I do is I take gameplay and I record them and look back and review it, kind of like an Inside the Mind video. This one specifically was a game I played out my solos on a stream the other day, and I really wanted to review the end game because I thought I played things very well. But based off of a lot of feedback I've recently gotten, people preferred the whole gameplay rather than like short, choppy cut to the scene. So I decided to go ahead and review the whole gameplay. So anyways, sit back, relax, and we'll start to unpack this. Go brawlers. So if you know me, I love to go brawlers. One, because there's a lot of loot. Two, because it's usually pretty contested, so I like to challenge myself on kind of those hotter drops. And 3, I just love using the Ares AR. I personally think it's one of the best ARs in the game. So a lot of this game I'm actually talking to my chat, so if you hear anything, just know I'm also talking to my chat in the background. So when I land brawlers, I like to go specifically for this higher tower because, one, there's a good chest up top there, and if you hit it right, you can just slide right into it. Down here and loot up, go from there. So typically I usually get a blue or higher weapon from this chest, and I always get some sort of shield, either minis or a big pot. And then I hit these barrels here for full health, close to full health at least. So I try to do that before my enemies come in and get looted and health. So I kind of had an idea of where that player was based off of his feet and his sound. I knew he was below me. Luckily he was a bot because I did end up missing and landing right on top of him, and I wasn't quite expecting that. But since he was a bot, I was able to get him pretty quickly. Hey Arrow, oh you're sick? I was wondering what you were doing on everyone's stream. Because usually you're at school. One other thing is I've pretty much memorized where all of the good chests are, so when I'm solo I try to hit all of those just to see what I can get. I think I made that a command, lurking and working. I was like, what rhymes? So right there, what I did is the whole time I could see him on my camera, I could see his entire body. But since I used that right shoulder peek there to kind of like peek shot it, I was able to get him without taking any damage. I mean, regardless of him being a bot, I still have been trying to work on that right shoulder peeking more because I've been doing pretty bad at it lately. So I've been trying to like get back down to the basics. And so I kind of had a feeling he was a bot, but I still want to kind of practice those quick peek shots. Go ahead and start Ari's here. So usually what I do is I stand back behind those pillars on that like round thing at the front. But since I was a solo and nobody else was here, I was trying to go up to the other chest, loot it, while also trying to multitask and start on the minions while I could too. So at one point I did think one of these footsteps was an actual person, just because it came to my right, so I kind of hesitated because I could see like 3 of the minions and then I saw that one off to the right. So I kind of hesitated and I'm like trying to decide what to do because I wasn't sure if it was one of the minions or not. So that's why I kind of like, I don't know if you noticed, I just kind of stopped for a second and then continued to get the minions. I was just trying to listen to see if it was a real player or not. Recoil. Hey Sip, how are you today? Calixta, Dex, hey, how's everyone going? How's everyone going? Can't spell it, I guess. How's everyone doing? This is the pillars I was talking about. I didn't really do it right here for some reason. I can't remember why. This is usually where I'm at when I fight Ares, is these pillars, and I use these columns as cover. Since I was a solo and I knew that the POI was pretty much clear, I decided to just continue looting while multitasking and looting as well. I should get that med kit. I cleared the whole POI. Took down Ares and his minions. And then somebody came and stole the mythic from me and ran away. Do you guys remember how mad I was? I was pretty mad in that stream if you were there to see it. If you weren't, basically I had cleared the entire POI and then I defeated the minions and the boss. And they came in and took the AR. So heartbroken. And they didn't even fight me. So I was pretty upset. Oh no. I'll have to look at it in just a minute. Basically now I'm just moving into zone because I've got a pretty far storm pool, so I'm just moving into zone here. Thing on top of my camera, like the layers are wrong. I mean, that's probably a good thing. My hair is a bit crazy today, and I didn't have time to do anything with it. At that point, I think really what I was looking for was for more health or even more shocks, because I like carrying shocks and airbending. Airbending to get around and then shocks to like kind of push up on people. Nobody took Olympus. But I've also been pairing the Zeus medallion with those because it makes it easier to just push people, because airbending alone, obviously they're going to see you. But if you have airbending to get closer, and then if you have shocks to shock on them, plus the Zeus medallion, makes pushing people a lot easier in my opinion. So I've been trying to pair all three of those, or combined all three of those I should say. Really been liking the Zeus medallion. One thing I will say, and I forgot to mention back when I was at Brawlers, is I personally felt that game I did spend way too much time at that POI, because as you saw, the storm had already pulled by the time I finished. Partially, I think I spent way too much time looting, but then not being sure if that other pair of footsteps was an AI or not. I think that just took way too much time on my part. Another thing I've been trying to work on is being a lot quicker at looting and getting out of POIs. I really thought I got shot at there, but I'm not sure if you guys heard that little, like, it sounded like I was getting shot at, like maybe someone was breaking my shield. So I'm not sure what that noise was, but my first reaction was just to get out of there. You can see my health is already low. So my first thought was grab the medallion and get out of there. Maybe I shouldn't have even grabbed the medallion, honestly. Maybe I should have just moved out of there, but like I said, I've been trying to carry the medallion with me also. But I remember being down here in this little place usually has barrels, so that's why I wanted to go here, because I knew I could get some health down here. One thing I also did before coming down is made sure my weapons were reloaded, because, you know, we don't have rats in the game, so you never know if somebody's going to be down here just ratting, so I wanted to make sure everything was reloaded, so I was prepared in case somebody was down there. But I reloaded that. But obviously I forget sometimes. Dang, I must be... You could call me the tiny bot slayer. Sounds lame. Tacos, it was your birthday? Happy late birthday. So now I'm just trying to move into zone, because that whole game I pretty much had a far rotation. So now I'm just trying to get into zone here. But then I noticed this glider and I was like, well, maybe I can get some free shots at him. But I lost him, so I just kept moving. Oh, But if I get all the medallions, everyone's gonna know where I'm at. So I pulled up my mini-map there. I was gonna try to park up there for a second to see where I was gonna go, but I pulled up my mini-map, but I'm glad I put my mini-map away because that person was just up there and they could have got me pretty easy. So I just leave because I knew I wasn't at a good advantage. But they're still shooting at me, so I was gonna try to see if I could get up here and take some shots at him. I think I can fight him from here, guys. So I did give up on it, but I think one thing I should have done here was kind of check my surroundings, because immediately I got out of the car and focused on that one person. So I think I definitely should have turned around and checked my surroundings. Even here now, you're seeing that I didn't even do that again. So someone could easily be on my left or on my right, and I wouldn't even know because I didn't even bother looking. I just immediately got focused on that same player. I don't want to take too much storm damage right now. I was honestly considering going for the Grim Medallion 2 and the Grim Mythic, but I had already been in Storm so much this game that I just didn't really want to chance it. I think from here my thought was to go to Island, which is usually something I usually do to get better weapons or to mod. So I think I was going to Island here. Okay, yeah. So let's go into Island. I was in this situation that I was kind of like looking everywhere, checking my surroundings. I can't say for certain that's what I did in the game, but I know, like, as I'm here watching the review, I find myself like kind of like scanning the environment. So I would hope I did that in the game, but I can't remember if I did or not. Actually, I don't wanna. I know I could have kept it down there, just would rather be able to see people coming in. He jumped down. Yeah, so it looked like he possibly airbended into a rift, so that's why I heard the rift and then saw the airbending immediately. I think he had done both. But then he tries to come back up here. I really need to work on my tracking skills in the air when they're gliding like that. It's something that I struggle with a lot. I mean, I still try it to shoot my shots, but obviously I need to fine-tune that a little bit more. Which is alright, we're all here to learn, so that's not a big deal. Glad I didn't mod. I think right here, really what I was looking for, because I had loot, so I think what I was looking for was for ammo, because I probably talked over it, but I was saying how I was low on ammo, so I think that's what I was really looting for right here. I've never used a mod bench before, sorry. Please excuse me. I do that a lot. I try to pull out a gun, and instead of pulling out a gun, I end up shooting. Alright, so this person's gliding, and what I thought was I'm gonna fizz here and get to see them more, because they're not gonna see me. I mean, not that they're not gonna see me, but I was trying to get a better visual on them, because I wasn't sure where they were at exactly. But now that they see me, I take some shots and then I'm gonna reposition here. But then I see this other glider. So I knew I had the Zeus medallion, so I could jump down, and I'm giggling because just yesterday in my stream, I took fall damage like 2 games in a row because I fell off. So I was just giggling because I that time I actually knew I had the Zeus medallion, so that's why I jumped off the island. But I think what my plan was is to pressure this guy off the island and possibly get some shots on him just to keep the pressure on him. But he's going to keep moving here. The reason why I didn't take more shots at him is still because my ammo was low and I knew I was getting close to endgame. So I wanted to kind of conserve my ammo. So that's what I'm looking for here is I'm not looking for loot, I'm looking for ammo specifically. So I'm looking for this car here, and I know he's under me. But what I wanted to do is, since I'm rotating in, I wanted to try to keep pressure on him. That way he knows that I'm willing to fight, that I'm not just gonna kind of be scared of him. So I wanted to just keep that pressure on him. As I'm rotating in, I should say. So I'm going the opposite way of him because I know I'm not full health. So I wanted to go opposite of where I knew that player was. But I'm also, like I said, hopefully I'm scanning the environment like I'm doing now. I'm kind of watching to see maybe what I missed. But I'm hoping that in game I was doing the same thing. So I had seen that car again. So that player made it way too easy. He drove directly at me. I don't think he intended to, but I was gonna go for the G-Wagon at first to use it for mobility and cover. But they ended up driving straight at me, so I just took good advantage of that. So right here, I'm pausing it because there's a few things I wanted to talk about right here. What I'm doing here is, you'll see in just a sec, there's this airbending right here, and there's this car right here. So I quickly turn around to kind of scan to see where the airbending was. And then my thought was, I'm going to prioritize the car because he is driving in my direction. And like the other car, I'm going to try to fry the driver. And the reason why I prioritized the car is because I knew that the airbender, he had to, I would see him for one, I'd see his icon come back. And two, I knew he'd have to go through like the little animation to get out airbending. So I thought if that does happen, I still have time to turn around and put some damage on them. And then potentially get out of that fight with either fizz or airbending. So I figured I'd get some free shots on him. So I did lose him in the air for a second there. But luckily I was able to get that. And I immediately leave that area because of that airbender. But then I just called out that there was a sniper looking at me. And there was a sniper hard scoping on that bridge. I don't want to be down here. So now I come back here to see if that other airbender was going to come in third party. Cars over there, 2 G-Wagons. So I don't see anything, so I decided to make a move for it. Just to get closer to zone, because I kind of had an idea that zone was going to pull towards on the classy side. Then I see these guys and I try to take as many shots as I can, because when they're up close like that, they're easy to fry if you can track them pretty well. So I thought I'd get some free shots on those two while they were chasing each other. But then that guy comes out and he was pretty easy to track as well. Still over there. If you can control the recoil on the Warforged, it actually fries people, so that's why I always try to get it. Sniping. There, I was looking at the sniper on the bridge. I'm in a snowsuit. So they're fairly easy to track. I was able to do 82 damage on that guy, and I think why I quit doing damage is because I kind of crossed over those trees there, and so then that kind of threw off my aim a bit. Right now my heart is pounding. His endgame jitters. Alright, there's 5 people up. There's one on the bridge. I did panic there because I was not expecting that other player. And so obviously he put a lot of damage on me. But I knew I couldn't stay and fight, so I had to get away. So now I'm not in any position to fight, so I'm just trying to heal. So that sniper was still up there. And so I'm trying to get around to his right to try to put some shots on him just to pressure him. Because I really didn't know where the other players were, so I'm trying to like find a good spot to kind of regroup. I'm trying to get away from these feet now, but I'm also trying to avoid the guy on the bridge. Alright, so I'm pretty sure that was the player who did all the water damage, or water bending damage to me. And I was pretty sure that was now the sniper on the bridge. So the reason why I come back here is because there was so much loot there, I figured there had to have been some health. So I come back here to see what I can find. Right. But I'm also using these rolling hills as cover in case those other players see me. So apparently bananas were the only hills I can find. There was also these big pots right here on my right, but I'm seeing it now, but I never noticed that in game that I could have grabbed one of those full shields. And had full shields, I should say. So I try to put damage on that player because he's in front of me, and I still have to rotate his direction, so I'm trying to keep pressure on him. Right there, I missed way too many shots. And it probably wasn't the best idea, but I got off of that house because I saw that other footsteps. So I got off that house really quickly. I'm taking so much damage, it's crazy. It's all the water.
I'm out of sprint.
Luckily, I got away from that car. There's just so much going on here in this endgame, guys. Like, so much, and I'm just trying to put as much damage where I can see it. That guy was free shots because he was just out in the open. I probably was too, but there was only two other players. One was airbending and one was in a car.
This is a crazy endgame for me.
But look at this endgame. Just nothing but airbending, and that guy's driving around aimlessly in cars.
Are y'all seeing this? Oh my gosh.
So I'm trying to like figure out what to do here because these guys are going crazy, like just driving around and airbending around. So I'm like, I gotta put some shots on people. That guy I put a lot of damage on already at the house, so he was pretty easy. I'm trying to keep these players in sights, but keep pressure on them. One thing I do here is, I'm sure you'll notice, one thing I've been trying to do is to stay mobile. In the past, I would have just come to this end game and I would have like crouched around, try to stay sneaky. But with this one, I decided I can't do that. There's just too much going on and there's such a small zone that I have to stay mobile. And luckily those bananas I had came in handy for that, plus the Zeus medallion that I had. I was able to move around a lot quicker. So you'll see that I'm in this end game specifically, I'm kind of like hopping around, and whilst I'm trying to keep these other players in my sights, because obviously one's in front of me and I know the other one is like in front and off to the right. So I'm trying to like put pressure where I can while staying mobile. And I have no idea how either of those players, well, one was airbending, so he couldn't have, but I have no idea why the other player didn't take shots at me, because he was off to my left there. Right here, he's pretty close to me, and so he easily could have shot me. I don't know why he didn't, but I just try to stay mobile as best as possible. So I know where they're at. I'm watching them, trying to move around while watching them. They're both over towards the houses. So I see that player there as I hop up in the air. Oops, too far. So as I hop in the air, I could see this player here. So I have an idea where he is, and then obviously this guy is still airbending. So what my thought process was next was, this guy is not airbending, but this guy is. So I'm going to try to get some shots on this guy here because he's obviously not as mobile as the airbender. So my first thought was get to a spot where I can put pressure on this player. So I got pretty lucky there that this player didn't find me while I was shotgunning that player. I didn't know that airbender would take one shot to hit. The reason why I did it is because he's still airbending and I wasn't sure what kind of damage was put on him. And I didn't want to get out of that other fight and he turned around and get out of his airbending animation and turn around and fight me. So I was trying to put pressure where I could. But I did get lucky, like I said, because he could have easily turned around and fried me and this game could have been completely different. So I'm going to take a second here to kind of put some pressure on this guy as he's coming in. Alright, as you can see, this endgame one was absolutely ridiculous. Like, watching it back, it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. But in that moment, I was just so overwhelmed with the amount of airbending what was going on, and then that player in the car that was just driving around to the ends of the earth. Like, I was just so overwhelmed with that game. But I knew the only thing I could do was try to keep pressure up because I was the only one really who wasn't airbending the whole time. So I was just trying to get as many free shots as I can. And I think doing a little bit of damage to each of those players really helped in the long run. This is not an end game that I've had before. So I was like really, like I said, I was really overwhelmed, to be honest. I was just like, there's so much going on. I really don't know how to play this. But I think at the end of the day, like staying mobile, staying level-headed and keep pressure on those people, I think that really helped me in the long run. And it actually was a really fun game also because it was just, like I said, it was just, there was so much going on and it was kind of funny to see like that nobody wanted to fight basically. Like I said before, in the past, I probably would have like stayed and like crouched and kind of just waited until I could do something about it. But this time I was like, I'm not going to just sit there and crouch this time. These people are not willing to fight, so I'm going to bring the fight to them. And obviously it really helped me because I put some damage on each of those players and I think that really helped in the end. So this was a fun one for sure. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys can learn something from this video, kind of me just talking about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I hope you can bring something into your gameplay with this and kind of see like what's going on through my mind as I'm playing. And if you guys have any like feedback of things that you noticed that I could have done different, especially here in this end game, but just let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye, friends.